Joining us now, Corey Stewart. Corey, as you know, longtime former chairman of supervisors of Prince William County. Also ran for lieutenant governor 2013, governor 2017, I think, U.S. Senate 2018. So he's been around the block, so to speak. And why I asked him on today is I was working out on Saturday and in between doing things with my son, got this video that somebody sent me with Corey on Saturday doing a rant where he was really pissed off about everything that's going on about this COVID nonsense. Because, look, now here's the reality, and I'm going to say it every day. Under 65, 9,000 people have died. I mean, we have completely shut down the economy and destroyed wages for a decade in this country, and 9,000 people under 65 have died in the United States. I mean, it is insanity now beyond belief. We got to get these businesses open. And Corey went on a major rant on Saturday, and it was very effective. It also made me laugh. This is pretty funny, and he's with us now. Back by popular demand, Corey Stewart. Great to have you back, Corey.
Hey, John. Great to be on the show this morning.
I thought that rant you did in the video, and if you haven't seen it, you can get it. Just go on Facebook or YouTube or anything. Put Corey Stewart. It comes right up. Corey, share with our audience that hadn't seen that. What inspired that rant Saturday?
Well, this past weekend was really, really critical for businesses, not just in Prince William County, but around Virginia, around the country. Memorial Day weekend, especially restaurants, bars, etc. And the Prince William Board of Supervisors voted in a bipartisan vote earlier that week to vote to request the governor to reopen Prince William County. The numbers have been going down, et cetera, and they thought it was important to the businesses. The governor just simply dismissed it and denied the request of the county to open up, even to restaurants that have outdoor seating, and they can keep the indoor seating closed, but open up some of the outdoor seating. He refused even that request. Didn't even take a look at it. So that did really tick me off, and that's what that's why I did it.
What is the consensus as you talk to people in Prince William County? I mean, are they going along with this? Are they pissed off? What's the sense?
I think everybody thinks it's completely ridiculous. I mean, what you just said about it, the virus has killed less than 9,000 people under the age of 65 in the United States. On average, about 3 million people die every year in the United States, right? So we have shut down our entire economy, just ruined the lives of a lot of people, put a lot of businesses out of business. And so I think people in Prince William County, Northern Virginia, but around the state, they think the whole thing is ridiculous. And I think I think a lot of Democrats do too. And I think that the president is going to benefit from that come November.
What do you think the political reaction is going to be? I mean, we saw the movement in Stanton, right? Stanton has never had a Republican council ever. They just threw the Democrats out. Somebody just texted me and said that a Republican mayor was elected in Vienna.
Yeah, you had in Vienna and Northern Virginia, there in Fairfax, also in Fairfax City. Republicans made gains. Republicans made gains around the state in these local elections. If I were a Democrat right now, I'd be thinking very, very hard about this continued shutdown and whether or not you're going to support it, because people are very, very clearly and quickly coming to the conclusion that Democrats want to take your job away. They want to keep the economy shut down, and Republicans want to open it. And, you know as well as I do that at the end of the day, when people walk into that voting booth, a lot of people, even if they lean Democrat, they're going to vote their pocketbook. And I think we're looking at a potential sweep throughout the country in November if this continues.
Well, I think you're right. You mentioned that you were going to take your wife to dinner in Culpeper.
We did that week before because Scott Jenkins, great guy out there. He's the sheriff in Culpeper, and he announced weeks ago. He said, "Look, the governor can The governor can pass all these directives he wants, but I'm a constitutional official. I'm elected in my own right. And if I don't want to enforce his unconstitutional order, I'm not going to. So I wanted to show some support as well as go out and get out of the house and have dinner. So we went out to Culpeper, went to a great place out there. And then on that day after I made my little speech there on Facebook, we went to Cowboy Jack's, which is it's actually a biker bar and restaurant in Fredericksburg, and that was a lot of fun.
Well, there you go. You're getting out and having some fun, but I thought your rant was spot on because a lot of people, Corey Stewart, are feeling a lot of frustration right now and not understanding why they can't get out. I got a text here from Amy in Fairfax. He says, I enjoyed my outdoor anniversary dinner at Potomac Point Winery in Stafford. She says, I drove all the way down there. Screw Fairfax. So
there's a lot of people like that, and it's really a shame for all the business owners and restaurant owners in Fairfax and Prince William and Loudoun, many of whom are not going to recover from this. But you've got millions of people in Northern Virginia who are taken off, especially on the weekends, and they're going down to Potomac Point Winery, and they're going down just a few miles south or west, and they're going to these restaurants. Mm-hmm. And of course they're going to do that. And so, the whole point of the order is it's not even going to work because people are going around it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Corey, what you think of the governor going to Virginia Beach on Saturday? On Friday, he hinted that he was going to make masks mandatory if you go out in public, you have to have a mask on, like it is in Washington, D.C. He's going to make them mandatory. Yet he goes to Virginia Beach, no mask. There is no social distancing. He's taking selfie photos. He's walking in crowds. What's up with this guy?
He's a total moron. You've met him. I've met him. He comes across as this nice guy, right? But and the first hint that, he's a total freaking idiot, of course, was last year about this time, with the blackface thing. And now it's just one more stupid move after another. The guy's such an embarrassment to Virginia. There he's talking about, mandatory mask order, and then he goes to Virginia Beach without a mask. He's, doing selfies, like you said, all that other stuff. What did he think, that nobody was going to see that? How dumb do you have to be? I can't believe that he's actually been elected the governor of a major state.
And handily, right? I think he won by 8 or 9 or 10 or something. Yeah. The other thing he said, he banned music from playing. Dude, what does music have to do with carrying this virus? Do you have any idea?
No, it's crazy, right? If you're going to say for health reasons, we're not going to have people on beaches. All right, I totally disagree with that. But then to go and say, well, we're going to allow people on the beach, but you can't play music. You can't drink a beer. You can't. What sense does that make? That has no foundation in any sort of medical science. And so what it does show you is that the governor's reason for doing this has nothing to do with health.
Right.
It has everything to do with controlling people, and whatever bizarre political motive he had to do that. Democrats all over the country are doing this, but it's completely backfiring on them. I have no idea why they're doing it, but it's really stupid.
Well, part of the reason is to keep people down and depressed, right? So if you're not smiling if you're behind a mask, it seems like there's some kind of a pandemic, right? Which you could die from it, and of course, if you're under 65, your chances of dying from this, Corey, are the same as getting hit in Prince William County by the Amtrak train. They're just not there. I've been trying to get the governor's office to give me clearance to have baseball practice for my son's high school team for 3 weeks. Yeah. I can't get clearance on it. And it's like, well, they said, well, you can have it, but it's only 10 people. And I'm like, okay, well, there's 15 kids on the team, but a high school baseball field is 3 acres. So is it 10 per acre? Is it 5 per acre? 3, 1? Is it 10 people per 1,000 acres? No one knows. No guidance. And there shouldn't even be guidance. And now guess today it's going to be, well, you can play tennis, but you have to have a mask on.
Yeah, right. I mean, just think about how stupid this is. And, Fauci and all the others, all right, all of these so-called experts, they're changing their guidance all the time. At first, they're like, oh, a mask doesn't work. Just make sure you use hand sanitizer, on surfaces, yada, yada, yada. And then now they're saying, oh, no, you can't transfer, the virus doesn't transfer through the surfaces. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. They really don't know.
Every day it changes.
Every day it changes. Take a look at, my wife's home country, Sweden, which, I mean, we're not going to look to Sweden for anything else, for a good example. But here they got it right. And they never shut down their economy. They, said, like Maria's mother, who's, she's elderly, and others, stay at home if you're elderly, if you're vulnerable, you got a heart condition, diabetes, yada, yada, yada. But for everybody else, go on out there and live your life. And it's working. Their death rate, their infection rate, all that is comparable to other European countries, a little bit higher than America, but comparable to the rest of Europe. And the byproduct of that, by the way, is that because more people have become exposed to it, because they didn't shut down their economy, they actually are getting closer to herd immunity than everybody else in the world. And if there's a second wave which could be more deadly, they're going to be better positioned for it, and their economy is certainly going to be better positioned for it.
Well, because they haven't done anything other than wash your hands and don't be stupid. Is basically what they said is don't be stupid.
Yeah.
That was their guidance. John Fredericks Radio Network, we're with Corey Stewart, former candidate for a number of offices, lieutenant governor, governor, Senate. Is there a political future for Corey Stewart?
Well, the short answer is no, not right now. I'm burnt out. When you run for office, which, I was pretty much consistently running for office, re-election in 2015, the Trump stuff in 2016, governor 17, Senate 18, that's a lot of. It takes a toll on you, your health, your business, everything else, right? So your family, and so I had to take a break. If I ever run for office again, if I ever do it, it's not going to be forced. It'll be because the timing is right and because the opportunity opens up. So I've kind of taken a fatalistic view of it and saying, hey, if it's in the cards, if that's God's will, then and if there's an opportunity, then I'll do it. But it's not going to happen anytime soon.
The Republican Party of Virginia, which right now is a clown show. I mean, nothing is going on. Your rant on Facebook was more than I got from anybody out of the Republican Party of Virginia. It's like we have no opposition. Nobody is fighting back. I mean, I like Jack. I consider him a friend. He's a good guy. He's a really good guy. He just hasn't done anything. So we have no party. There's no opposition. I mean, if you looked at Gilbert's, every 2 weeks he sends out a tweet. I think yesterday after Northam's photos at the beach, he sent a one-line tweet out. There's no opposition. I mean, what do we have to do in Virginia to forget having a party? Just get an opposition. What do we have to do?
You got to fight. You got to fight, and I think you're spot on that, because people are not going to come out and vote for you unless there's something to vote for, and they're not going to come out and vote for you just because you're better than the Democrats. They're just not going to do it. They're not going to come out just because they hate the Democrats or the governor sucks. They're not going to do that. Some people will, but for the most part, you got to give people a fighting reason. And people look at my defeat in 2018 and other people in the Trump brand of politics and say, well, it didn't work this year, it didn't work there, yada yada. It doesn't work everywhere. They're forgetting the fact that when you truly break down the numbers, what defeated us in 2018 and some of these other races too was not that our people didn't come out. Our people came out in record numbers, but the Democrats had a bigger turnout. And at some point, their turnout is going to start going down. It's just a matter of time. It's not going to stay high as it's been for forever. But to defeat them in the future, you got to have conservative turnout. And I'm not talking about your normal person, the person who goes to Republican committee meetings and who's an activist. Of course they're going to turn out. You got to get the guy in the blue jeans who works as a food delivery man, or you got to get people like that. You got to get normal people who are normally not active,
right?
And you got to get them activated, and that means you got to be a fighter because that's what people want and need.
I agree with you, Corey Stewart. You're not going to get anything by sitting around and doing nothing. And right now, you look at Virginia, this governor can do whatever he pleases. I mean, I talked to somebody the other day, I think it was Dave LaRock. I went to Loudoun County. I went to Leesburg, I think. And Dave LaRock came, and I asked him the same question on air, and he said, well, we're shell-shocked. 15, or I guess 17 and 19, and he said Republicans are just, they've been shell-shocked. They have all the stuffing beat out of them, so they're all afraid. Nobody wants to do or say anything. They're afraid they might get beat too. And I'm like, well, that's no way to live. Why are you in politics if you're afraid to fight? What's the purpose? But right now, Corey Stewart, my point is there's no opposition party, no opposition apparatus. There's no pushback. This governor can do whatever he pleases. There's not a peep out of anybody. For instance, every single thing he's done, we have yet to have a press conference. Not one press conference. Not the RPV, not Todd Gilbert, Garrett Shipley, you can name any of them. Not a single press conference. In all your dreams, could you ever imagine that all of this would happen to Republicans and to conservatives, and there would not even be one presser of opposition?
The Republican Party in Virginia, and I'm not talking about the RPV itself, and I'm not talking about any individual, right? But it's kind of reverted back to pre-Trump days when it was this tired, shy, weakling party that is afraid of everything. They're afraid of all the labels by the Democrats put on them. They're afraid to stand up to the Democrats. And when I'm talking about they, I'm talking about the royal they, right? I mean, they're just the Republican Party as a whole. And there are so many targets right now. I mean, if you think about all this stuff that the radical lefties have passed in Richmond, that is completely out of touch with the vast majority of Virginians. It's true that we have been trending blue for 10 to 15 years. It's absolutely true. But if you think that the average Democrat who votes Democrat in Northern Virginia, including in Prince William County, especially among minorities, if you think they're progressive lefties and that they support all this stuff, you're wrong. Mm-hmm. They don't. Mm-hmm. But they don't hear this. Mm-hmm. They don't even know about the radical left stuff that the Democrats have passed mm-hmm. because the Republicans aren't fighting. Mm-hmm. There's a couple people down there who are, but for the most part, they're not doing it. And there's so many issues. And you talk about all the transgender stuff and the abortion stuff, the tax things, taking down of monuments and so forth. All this stuff. It needs to be fought tooth. It's got to be fought before people even understand that it's going on, and then they can react to it.
Well, right now we have no opposition. I guess there's a couple of people running for chairman along with Jack. I don't even know if we're going to have a convention. I mean, that's not clear. Rich Anderson, he just texted me. Rich, if you want to call in, 804-778-8888, 804-778-8888. Got a text here from Wayne and Glen Allen. He says, Jack Wilson runs the RPV like it's a big yard sale, not accomplishing much of anything. I mean, that's the thing. I have no problem with Jack. Great guy. I like Rich. They're all fine people. I just want somebody to do something. And the fact is we do nothing it's just mind-boggling to me. Corey, the best thing we did was the video that you put out on Facebook Live. I mean, that's the biggest opposition we've had.
Well,
that's why I had you on today.
Yeah, let me say this in defense of Jack and all the others out there, is that, the RPV is really there as a mechanism to support candidates, Republican candidates around the state. It's not. I don't see its main role as being the arbiter of the Republican message in Virginia. I don't see that. I mean, it can help do that, but that's not its main role. That role is supposed to be filled by people who are running for office or who are in office. And so it's really, I think it's too much of a criticism on Jack to, put that all on him. You know what I mean? So.
All right, I'll buy that. But then there's been no opposition from the leaders. Who's our leader now? Is it, we have two leaders then, according to Corey Stewart. I'll buy that. We have two opposition leaders. Todd Gilbert, minority leader in the House of Delegates. Tommy Normant, minority leader in the state Senate. That's it. Those are our two elected officials that are in leadership positions. I've not heard a peep out of any of them. So they're not doing anything either. So, there's nothing. Basically, this governor and the Democrats can do whatever they please because they know there'll be zero pushback. So they do whatever they want. Unbelievable.
And it really falls on all of them. Not just the majority leader and the minority leader and so forth. It falls on every elected Republican leader, every one of them. The biggest problem, by far the biggest problem, and it's not just Virginia, but it's really bad here, and that is Republicans don't have guts. They're so afraid of being labeled as a bigot, a racist, a homophobe, uncaring, and not yada yada yada. They're afraid to oppose what the Democrats are doing because they're afraid of being labeled. And if you live in fear, you cannot lead. You just can't. If you're living in fear and you're reacting to that fear by refusing to stand up to the Democrats, well, then actually what you've done is you've just you took the mantle of leadership and you just gave it away to the Democrats. That's what they've done in Virginia.
Exactly. We're out of time. I want to thank Corey Stewart for being with us. He said, if you live in fear, you can't lead. That's basically what we've got right now. Corey, thanks for being with us, and thanks for doing that video.
Thank you.